Bonjour, comment ça va? Je m'appelle Norbert, Noti Chabert, but everybody calls me Norbert, and you probably already knew that. Well, welcome to the Back of the House podcast, and what can I say? We made it to episode 2. And for all of y'all that saw episode 1, let me just say, I'm humbled by the support we've seen. Look, this audience is growing, and like I told you, it, like me, is a work in progress. But we're happy to be here talking about the industry that we affectionately hate to love, but we do. The Back of the House is proud to have had my very good friend, Chef Randy Sheremy here last episode. And again, if you hadn't seen it, give us a like, subscribe to the podcast. We've got a full slate of guests, and Randy knocked it out of the park. I think that we're going to be able to live up to that with our next guest. However, you never can tell. The first time's sometimes smooth. The first time is sometimes awkward. We lucked out and we knocked it out of the park with the first one. And we appreciate the support. So like I said, give us a like, give us a subscribe, share the videos, send them to your friends. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, whatever you do when you're following. Our guest today, the G-Man, Gerald Gruenig, he's got a following. I think he's up to like 230,000 TikTok followers. And as a man that definitely, if he knows anything, he knows about the single best bite. And I have to say, the comments that we got about the single best bite of food from last episode, some of them were here, some of them were there. But you know who loved it? Anybody that loves La Casa. It finally, something outshined the salsa. And look, we all love the salsa, but that deluxe nacho, y'all, it was incredible. And we actually had haters. They were like, how on earth is it possible that you got, of all the options out there, you come up with the La Casa Deluxe Nacho? And what did I say? It was about the construction of that thing. And when I tried to follow up what was going to be the single best bite of food that I've had since the last episode, it's been about 4 weeks. And in that time, I took my vacation. I call it my sabbatical. It's very much an unplug thing for me. And I go to the beach. And how many times when you go to the beach, you bring a sandwich, all right? Well, if I'm going to the beach and all I'm doing is unplugging and cooking, if you checked out my TikTok, you might have saw this amazing seafood market called Joe Patty. If you've never seen Joe Patty's, it's in Pensacola, Florida. It is without question the best live seafood market that you can find anywhere in the Gulf Coast of the United States of America. And that's saying something, y'all, all right? Now, I normally go in there, buy all my food, right? I get my shrimp, I get me some fish, I get some accoutrement for my meals. We got some lemon, we got some celery, we got some asparagus, got some seasonings. One of the things that Joe Patty has incorporated as of late is they have a first-class meat market, all right? Now, I know you hear the Norbert Chabert, I know you hear the French opening, but I'm also Italian, okay? My grandmother, Argentina Delis, the first one of her name in her family to be born here in the United States of America, landed families down in Raceland. She married my papa, Norbert, from Cutoff, all right? But she was 100% Italian, Sicilian, okay? And I love me an Italian sandwich, all right? I love it. And Joe Patty's has a deli, okay, where they slice your meat real thin or however you like it, okay? And they got the capicola, and they got the good mortadella with the pistachio in it, okay? And for those of y'all that don't know, mortadella is just a big, good, beautiful piece of bologna with the big hunks of fat right in it. You may not like that, but Bubba, I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's what you get on the muffalata, okay? So just like that nacho was built properly, okay, the muffalata gets built properly, where you got that layer of oil on that bun, and then you got you some ham, and then you put some salami and the mortadella, and that's great. And then you put that olive spread. I love it. When we all had the camp on Grand Isle, we would make them in little sesame seed hamburger buns, wrap them up in aluminum foil, stick them in the oven with some Swiss cheese and some other Italian cheeses, and look, phenomenal, okay? But for the beach, all right, I try to make it like a true grinder, like a Northeastern hoagie sandwich, okay? And I built out this sandwich. Look, my friend Nat was out there. She's been known to order a Subway sandwich via Waiter that costs $30, okay? I said I could build one for half that, all right? And it'll be 10 times better. We got us the fresh bread that came from a little bakery local. Put that Italian dressing, the dry seasoning on olive oil at the bottom and the top. And you toasted it in that cast iron skillet, and then you started to build. I had that fresh sliced thin Chisasi's ham, baby. If you ain't got that Chisasi's ham, man, let me tell you what, your life ain't been lived proper, okay? And then after that, we had some real sliced thin Genoa salami, okay? And then on top of that, we had that good mortadella folded over twice. And then the capicola that we got from the Joe Patty. Okay, now capicola, it's like if you had a piece of andouille this big, all right? It has the big chunks of fat in it. This one was a spicy capicola. It changes the complexion of a sandwich. It makes a true Italian sandwich an Italian sandwich. Put it on top, hit it with the provolone, hit it with the Swiss, okay? Shredded onion. Now let me tell you something. This is something that's often missed, but in my opinion, I think it's the key. You gotta love a little bit of tomato. You gotta love a little bit of shredded lettuce. You need it, a little shredded red onion, okay? But if you're just putting a tomato on your sandwich, you're doing it wrong. Because if you salt the tomato while you got either on the side or on your sandwich, a completely different taste. It's a completely different taste. So I advise you, when you're making your sandwich, try it. One tomato salted, one tomato not salted. And I promise you, you're gonna be a convert. Just like that. The next thing I can advise you, you get that shredded lettuce, okay? And you take the red onion, you put it all in the same bowl, and you make your dressing of that. A little olive oil, a little red wine vinegar, some salt and pepper. You mix it up real good to where the lettuce is almost dripping with it, okay? Because you want that good lubricant on that hard bread that you just toasted, and you smash it down. Now look, not panini style, no. But you want it good, you want it compact. Because when you take it like that, like Gerald does it sometimes, you bring that in, he's like, let's go, baby! All right, you're gonna slice that sandwich in half. You can eat it on time right then. You could put it in the fridge, get it cold. You can heat it up. It don't matter, baby, because it's gonna be out of the park. And let me just tell you something. I ate a lot of good things on my vacation. I've eaten a lot of good things since the show. But that sandwich, without question, was the single best bite of food I've had since episode 1. And look, it's pretty simple to do. If you didn't follow what I did, go check out on YouTube. There's 1,000 ways to make Italian sandwiches. Just remember this. Your whole life you done heard the best sandwich ever made for you was the one that somebody else made. Let me tell you. Follow Norbert's instructions, baby, and you're going to have the best sandwich you ever made in your life. Ça c'est bon. But enough about that. I can't wait to tell you about my next guest. Look, in an age where making a show out of a 15-second or a 60-second or a 3-minute tape can take you to stratospheres unbeknown until this time, my boy Gerald Gruenig is freaking making a show of it, all right? Happy to say, a Nichols man. I also say this all the time if you ever knew me. The first time I learned what a Renaissance man was, that's all I ever wanted to be. That's all I ever wanted to be. This guy's a modern day Renaissance man. Former football player for the Colonels. He's a TV reporter. The man plays the accordion beatbox. Got his own band, okay? Got his own band. All right, playing that Zydeco, coming out of New Orleans. Got over 230,000 followers on the TikTok, blowing it up on Instagram with like 14,000 followers. And the man has the job. I always used to say the lieutenant governor of the state of Louisiana had the best job. Why? All you do is run around and promote the state of Louisiana. This man may have that beat. This guy goes to every single mom and pop that we got, that anybody tells him about. Hears about a hot plate, he goes try it out. I'll be honest with you. I knew he had his bona fides when he showed up at the Blue Store in Baton Rouge, okay? Tried that fried chicken and that fried rice. What? Yeah, man, hey, converted, but he also said something that's smart too. Don't sleep on them tenders. So look, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, the G-Man's in the house.
let the good times roll, baby. Let's go.
All right. Welcome back. We got the big G, Gerald, Gruenig. Say it right, folks.
Look, the debate continues, even where I work in Lafayette. Gruenig, you good. In Lafayette, they say Gruenig, so it all works. I'm good with whatever. Norby, how you been, baby?
I've been good, boo.
Good,
we
man.
appreciate you coming out, getting back on campus.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Right?
Yeah, it's my first time in the new culinary building. It's beautiful.
Now, when were you here, G?
2009 to 2013. This one I signed in 2009 and I graduated in the spring of 13.
How'd you like it? Now, where are you from originally?
So, originally from New Orleans. I grew up in Gentilly on top of the Po' Boy Bakery on Franklin Avenue.
Well, you went to high school. We all just had a high school conversation between the Destrehan folk, the Hineville folk, the South Terrebonne boy.
So, Katrina kicked off my high school career, right? So, kind of bobbed around schools in New Orleans growing up. Was definitely, wasn't a bad kid, but a problem child for my parents. So, I kind of bobbed around a lot. My 9th grade year, I was at Brother Martin all summer taking some summer classes. My older brother went to Jesuit. I went to Brother Martin, of course, just because that's our relationship, right? Whatever he's going to do, I'm going to do the opposite. And then Katrina hit. So ended up in Pearl, Mississippi. So left Brother Martin, ended up in Pearl, Mississippi for a couple of months. And then I spent the next 3.5 years in the Mandeville, Covington area, and I graduated from Fontainebleau High School. So, yeah, that's right. So, 15 years of my life in New Orleans, and then a little bit of time away from New Orleans. 3.5 years on the North Shore, 4 years in Thibodaux, and I've been in Lafayette since 2014 now.
I hear that, man. I lived in New Orleans for Katrina.
Yeah,
it was a rough time. I got the double whammy. Had to evacuate there. Went up to Woodville, Mississippi for the real evacuation.
Right.
Came down to my hometown of Chauvin and Locaia down in Southern Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah.
And then Rita comes in 3 weeks later, puts 4 foot of water in my house and me standing in it. So it was a double whammy on that sense. But you know, there's gonna be so many stories like that where Katrina molded my life in, you know, for a lot of people, ways that you can't fix, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of situations where it was a catalyst for something different. You see it certainly in athletics. You came over here to play ball, right?
Right.
How many guys from some of the bigger programs that have signed kids out of Houston, out of Atlanta, they were like originally from New Orleans.
It's a big deal.
To move them all.
It's a big deal. Well, that conversation comes up a lot. You know, my buddies from the North Shore always make fun of me because when people ask me where I went to high school, I say, well, I went to Brother Martin, then I went to Fontainebleau. And they're like, bro, you're at Brother Martin for 2 months. Well, they're not from New Orleans, so they don't understand the significance of the high school scene in New Orleans, just like it is in South Louisiana, but more especially in New Orleans. So when I tell people I went to Brother Martin, but I graduated from Fontainebleau, they go, oh, so you went to Brother Martin. It doesn't matter how long I went there, what year were you there, when were you there. It's much more of a conversational piece, but I do think it's funny during, you know, the early signing period and the February signing period, each and every year during college football or whatever it is, seeing these college athletes, you know, the ESPN reporter goes, well, so you're from Houston. It's like, oh, no, baby. I'm from New Orleans. I'm from South Louisiana, which is a really big deal and a point of pride for a lot of people.
But you know, another thing is just getting some of the feedback from our first show is the following that we had in places like L.A., Greenville, Spartanburg, like you and I were talking about off camera a minute ago. And they said, now look, y'all got some culture down there that the rest of us don't understand. So one of the things that's huge here that a lot of people in other places just do not get is like when we say where you went to school, we are not talking about what college you attended.
As much as we love Nicholls State University. No,
it's true. Anywhere.
It's true.
It's like, where did you prep? Where did you go to high school? And look, it ain't about what, you know, did you go to the Catholic League or did you go to District 8-4A? You know, we just want to know what high school you went to. That way we can know where you at.
Right. And those connections too, right? No. Well, it's like immediately hanging out, even in this building, we're talking about Destrehan, we're talking, you know, the different schools down in Terrebonne Parish. Immediately, I start thinking, man, how old are you? Okay, I know so-and-so that went to school there.
Talk about your schools in Lafayette. So, I bleed the red and gray for the Nicholls State Colonels, but not a whole lot of people know that I started with back in the day when it was USL. I left South Terrebonne. I started my collegiate career at UL. My plan was never to graduate from there, but I wanted to go. I wanted to get out of here for a little bit, as a lot of people do. And a lot of guys in my fraternity house were
Yeah.
from Brother Martin.
Yeah,
Okay, I mean
right.
a ton of guys. Steve Peace. I mean,
Well,
look,
there's
so
a
many
huge
guys.
connection in Lafayette to New Orleans. I run into people all the time that immediately go, man, I know your dad, or, you know, I went to Brother Martin, I went to Jesuit, I went to Rumble, and then I went to UL, and then I stayed here. I've kind of been in that same situation where I never thought that Lafayette would be a forever location for us. And while you never know what happens, I love Lafayette. I love where we live, and it was just a place I never even thought about living, because it was ultimately play football at Nichols, go back home and run the family restaurant as my dad gets older. But then next thing you know, I kind of get hooked up in the TV game, start doing the local TV thing, and we moved to Lafayette in 2014 after a year in Alexandria, and it's like, man, this is a fun place to live, and it really is, in my opinion, the perfect mix of New Orleans, Thibodaux, home, you know, like it really is that full Louisiana experience where you still have that city feel, you can still do the stuff that you like to do back home, although it's a little different, everybody's got their own flavor, style, culture, you know, it's really been a good mix for us, and yeah, Lafayette, bro, it's been a good ride, bro.
So one of the things that we were talking about on the last episode is, you know, not only is New Orleans a culinary mecca,
Yep.
but Louisiana is.
No doubt.
When I was picking out T-shirts earlier, I looked at one shirt we got from Dirty Coast, and it says, "Cajun ain't Creole, and Creole ain't Cajun."
Yep.
Right? There's that big cultural divide. And what people don't realize is like you can understand how Creole is more of a New Orleans thing.
Correct.
Goes back centuries. We get that. Cajun has a subdivision that people don't realize until you start to immerse yourself in it. Half of it, you know, Acadiana is roughly 28 parishes in the state of Louisiana, and kind of goes from Alexandria south in like a triangle heading towards the coast. And somewhere around that Atchafalaya Basin, where it breaks off between that space between the Mississippi River, right, and the Atchafalaya Basin, where you get the Bayou Cajun thing.
Yeah, right.
You know, you get your Morgan City, you get your Assumption, Belle River, you know, Pierreport, all of Terrebonne Parish by Lafourche, where we are, okay?
Right.
The back parts of Ascension, where you're still Cajun.
Yep.
But it's a completely different kind of Cajun than the Prairie Cajun that you get from Opelousas, St. James, you know, some of the Vermilion Parish, some of the Ville Platte, all that stuff, all those little towns where they tend to smoke their sausage, right? They're making a chicken and andouille jambalaya. Well, we're probably making a shrimp jambalaya. And depending on what side of the bayou you're on, you may not put sausage in it.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
It's a huge cultural difference just in itself. Man, you get to live that every day doing what you're doing now. If you don't follow him, hit us up with all your follows real quick, because this man got them all.
Yeah, no. So it was October of this past year. So what's funny is you have a lot of people that keep up with me now that think like, man, you've got the best job, and so much of it is, yeah, I do, but they don't even realize what I do. You know, I know you touched on it earlier. I have a job in local TV. I work at KLFY News 10 in Lafayette, Louisiana, and in 2015, I told my then bosses, I was like, man, why don't we do a food segment? And started a food segment called Acadiana Eats back in 2015. And then so I've been doing a food segment for 7 years called Acadiana Eats on KLFY. It's huge in our, you know, Acadiana area.
Let's talk about the embryonic parts of that.
Okay. So I grew up in New Orleans on top of the Po' Boy restaurant, and the whole idea when I moved to Lafayette, and even still while I was living in Lafayette, the plan was to go back home, either work in sports, cover the Saints and Pelicans for a little bit, and then eventually take over the restaurant. That was always kind of the plan, honestly.
Your parents' restaurant.
My parents' restaurant, Kaz's. I grew up on top of the Po' Boy Bakery on Franklin Avenue. We have Kaz's in Harahan now. My dad's, been at it since he was, 12, 13 years old. The restaurant we own now is the restaurant my dad grew up in.
Y'all make an Italian sandwich like the one?
Well, I heard you talking, man. As soon as you started, I had no idea that most people's parents' best friends weren't the bunny bread man, the Chisasi ham guy, Mr. Jerry, the Hubix pie man, Sam, the bunny bread.
I came this close to wearing the Evangeline made bread t-shirt. I thought that was a little too much.
Yeah, for sure. But so that's what started the food segment in Lafayette. I was like, man, we have so much culture here in Southwest Louisiana, And I had just been there a year, and I'm like, man, all I hear people talking about, and all people want to do, I go to the festivals. There's so much music, so much food, so many things that make this area so unique. But my time spent in Thibodaux was a great way for me to kind of connect the Bayou kind of Cajun Creole side of what's going on Thibodaux in people's backyards and what's going on out in Southwest Louisiana. So it was an easy fit. It's funny, so much credit goes to that food segment that we started, but really,
so tell me about the actual segment.
Yeah,
because I know it's changed.
Yeah, right.
No question. So tell me about those first couple episodes.
Yeah, so Acadiana Eats, when we started it in 2015, the whole idea, honestly, at that point for me, Norbert, was to kind of maybe do like a little twist on like man versus food, but like some bizarre foods, because we do eat some crazy food that's normal to us that a lot of people don't really connect with. And even me from New Orleans, coming to Thibodaux, I'd never had frog legs. I had never had, I'd never had fricassees. I mean, there was a lot of things growing up on top of the restaurant. Now I'd had white beans, pork chops, red beans, spaghetti, stuff like that. But rice and gravy culture, to me, it's grown a lot in New Orleans with oxtails and stuff like that. But, the restaurant scene I grew up in Gentilly, the neighborhood in New Orleans, plate lunches like that weren't as big a deal as they are where I live now. So start the Acadiana Eat segment 2015. We're doing, some of the heavy hitters. We make a stop at the Best Stop, right, in Scott, as I'm learning. But the thing that transitioned and really made the difference for me is when we started hitting the Villeplats, the Abbeyvilles, the Kaplans, the Mermentau Coves, the, Lake Arthurs.
No, Lake Arthur Park.
That's what I'm saying. You start hitting some of these honey holes and hit these restaurants that really make a difference in the lives of the people that own them and the community that they serve. That's when I really felt things take the next step in as far as the popularity goes for the segment, because man, there aren't many local television stations that have the reach and power that we have in Lafayette. But that, just taking care of these restaurants, because I remember how big of a deal it was for my dad to be featured on Channel 4, Channel 6, Channel 8, whatever it was, what it meant business-wise for our family. So that was the ultimate goal. It wasn't for me to eat, and it's still not for me to eat. I'm gonna be honest with you. I take a bite, and then it's like, okay, hey, it's good. Sometimes if I'm starving after a workout, I'll knock it down. But, a lot of times I try to be smart with it, because we do hit up a lot of places in a week. However, that is what led to the recent push that myself and one of my best friends and videographer, John Weatherall, have made starting in October of 2021. Norbert was like, you know what, man? We love Acadiana. We love Southwest Louisiana. We love our television station that we both worked at, KLFY News 10. But it's like, man, let's start kind of going. We're so lucky that Lafayette is an hour and a half to 2 hours away from pretty much everything the state.
That's right.
So like today, we could get off work, get in the car, and come down to Thibodaux, hit 4 restaurants, tape a podcast, go make a stop by the new field house at the football stadium, and really make a difference. And what's wild to me is the growth we've experienced since October. Together, our accounts reach more than 1 million people, which is exciting.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Well, John's got his own following too.
John absolutely does. But what's been cool about the restaurant side is I've always gotten positive feedback from the television stuff that we've done in the past, but to be pulling up at Bourgeois Meat Market like I was today, to be at Blake's in Thibodaux, Blake's Deli, and to have people going, whoa, oh my goodness, hey, it's you, and they're excited that we're there.
Yeah.
That I just know that as soon as I drop these videos from Thibodaux, people are going to treat their phone like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm seeing this.
The best example is Portnoy's pizza.
Oh, no doubt,
review.
no doubt.
Okay, for those of y'all that aren't familiar with it, Dave Portnoy, polarizing figure, whatever, with Barstool Sports, he has been doing this pizza review where, one slice, 2 bites, the rules.
One slice, everybody knows one bite,
the rules.
Yep.
And he goes into these mom and pops, okay, and they're like, oh, you're going to be over here, you're going to be over there, you got to stop at Johnny's Pizza, you got to stop at Sally's Pizza, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he goes in, he gets a slice, he comes out, walks out of the restaurant right in front of him. He's like, all right, here we go. All right, here's the same.
Yeah.
Takes a bite, takes another bite, bites the crust, he goes, and then gives it a rating, and gives it a critical critique, all right, which is something we kind of do on this show. And it's like, what he does for the restaurants, these little mom and pop stores. He ain't rolling up into Papa John's on the corner of First and Main, going, let me see if you got the best meat lovers. That ain't what he's doing.
Yeah, right.
And that's when I started checking you out, watching you just pop into a place like Billy's.
Yeah.
Okay, just hitting the drive-through going,
Yeah.
I would like
Yeah.
a Linka Boudin.
Right.
I want a pepper jack cheese egg roll. I want 2 Boudin balls.
Right.
I want this or that. And I was like,
Right.
this man needs to go to a cardiologist.
Yeah,
And
no
by the
doubt.
way, everybody I've told that you're
Yeah.
coming on the show are like, man, make sure that man go see a cardiologist.
I do. I go to the doctor every fall, and what people don't know, right, is that I'm running anywhere from 15 to 18 miles a week. I'm lifting
I have
weights.
no doubt.
I'm trying to stay on top of it. But you bring up the Portnoy thing, where I make the joke where people, every now and then in my comments, I'm not one that dreads on if somebody's talking smack, like, hey, bro, go nuts.
That's
man,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, me too.
Glad to have you here, right? So, but the thing that I hear sometimes is people will be like, hey, 2 things. The only negatives I get is like, man, give a rating. Like, well, let me tell
Yeah,
you something,
right.
bro. I'm here, and my role, and I think part of the reason why what we have done is so successful, it's not my job, in my opinion, to tell you what you're going to like. If I like it, I'm going to post it. I'm going to put it on my page. I'm going to put it on our television segment,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I'm not ever, it's one of these things that touches my soul, man, ever going to put somebody in a situation where, you know, I'm taking advantage of all these people behind the scenes and or not caring for the people that are making sure that certain areas and certain communities are A, being fed,
Yeah.
or B, being employed, right? Because you're not just talking about one person that owns a possible restaurant. You're talking about a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter, a cousin. Man, so many of our mom and pop shops, it's a family, a truly like that family.
And your perspective of growing up on
supports
top
it.
of the
Yeah,
football
man.
shop, I mean,
Well,
you get that in a way that,
Ooh,
that people
man.
that they basically don't.
Correct.
But also on that, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the
Yeah.
counterpoint to
Yeah.
that is, tell me your daddy didn't want to know if the bread was crunchy that day.
Oh, look.
Tell me your daddy
Look.
didn't want to know if the girl that he just hired that was working the register
Yeah.
wasn't doing a good
Nah.
job. She didn't say thank you. Shit.
Right.
Look, I grew up in it too.
Yeah.
Okay, did it myself, owned places, and you require a lot of that feedback. I'm
Yeah.
with you 100%
No
on the
doubt.
rating.
No
I ain't
doubt.
gonna say this,
Yeah,
that, and the other.
right.
Like
Go
Portnoy
try it
does
for yourself. Just know that I liked it.
Absolutely, and what what I love about what you do is you do it in a unique way that I've never really seen before.
Yeah.
You're excelling at it, like
Yeah.
you were saying.
Thank you.
You've developed such a following where it's almost like TikTok was tailor-made to deliver your message. The real.
Yeah.
I mean, you're killing it there. Whereas like a Portnoy or some other folks that are out there doing reviews or playing in this space, or they're doing a segment.
Yeah.
You ain't doing a segment. You're
No.
doing a quick hit.
Yeah,
You know,
right,
like
right.
quick little stand up. Let me tell you, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is where let's go. Let's
Yeah.
give me that tagline.
Let's go, baby. Yeah. So, and that's what's funny too. I'll have people all the time, or I say all the time, be like, oh man, dude, you say, like, bro, I've been, like, every now and then I get tagged in somebody, or somebody will say, like, oh, somebody's trying to be like Gerald, or Gerald's trying to be like, bro, did y'all, I don't know if y'all heard, what camera I need to look at. I have been doing a food segment for 7 years.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Let's Go, baby.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? We've been at this for a while. And then once the social media platforms, Norby, made that transition to video, I felt like we should have, I can't imagine what it would have been like if we would have gotten on during the pandemic, when if you were just posting consistently, some people's numbers were crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got on when we did, because I still feel like TikTok and Reels and video work is still so infant and so new to so many people, because you have so many people that are going to put the work in and edit the videos and do what it takes to get done. But gone are the days, and maybe not gone, but it's a lot harder to just post a picture and for things to move like they did for so many years past. So it was really that transition from photo to video where John and I both were like, you know what, hey, let's really put our shoulder into this, because this feels like the platforms we can succeed in, because John's super talented with the way he shoots, and what I've done has been so impactful in Southwest Louisiana. I've always thought, like, man, I would love to start doing this across our state. And now phones shoot great video. You can edit, do everything through apps and post it right away. So it's all there. All the tools were there. I just needed to sit down and do it. And that was the decision I made in October to kind of put my shoulder into it.
And
Man,
I'll
been
say,
good.
look, posting to TikTok, I've posted 3.
Yeah.
2 of them have been about food.
Just gave you the follow back, by the way. Let's go.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
I'm like, the first one, all thumbs, man. Probably took me 2 days to figure out the editing
Right.
and this, that, and the other, how to get the sound sync with what I wanted to do, and this, that, and the other.
Yep.
Second one came on a little quicker. Third one came a lot quicker. people don't realize the time and effort and the talent that it takes to do that. It's awesome that you have somebody like John to collaborate with. You can bounce stuff off
all
of.
the time. Yeah.
And, you know, I think a lot of people you talk about it being in the infant stages of this medium. A lot of people give up fast.
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
You know, particularly at a certain age that
Yeah.
didn't necessarily grow up with technology. Look, I'm not the oldest person. I ain't the youngest either. And younger people that I work with are like, oh yeah, it's great that you're doing that, but here's a faster way to do it. And it's like, man, love that feedback.
Yes.
Some people cannot do it.
Right.
So it's almost like you're hitting a ceiling in terms of certain competition, but there's always competition coming up.
No doubt.
But in terms of, what's our boy's name in New Orleans does the red beans and rice?
Oh, so here's what's funny.
I love that guy.
So here's what's funny. I don't know if you know this. Devin and I he also is a Fountain Blue Bulldog.
Oh, there we go.
So Devin has been at it, once again, people don't realize, Devin's been at it social media-wise, building something, Hold the Mayo, Snow Like John, the whole thing for a couple of years now. And he's finally hit his stride with something that's making a huge impact in New Orleans. Same kind of concept, obviously different delivery, but
let's talk about that. Let's give him his free plug.
No, and we can get Devin on here too, man.
No,
for sure.
So Devin does a red bean and rice review every Monday.
RB&R day, baby.
That's it, RB&R day, and he goes just to mom and pops, and look, he ain't as nice as you.
Yeah, it's a little different, man.
We went to one recently where he was like, I don't love it. I'll be honest with you, I don't love it.
Right.
Well, go follow him and find out which ones that work.
Right.
But let me tell you something. It's like I was talking about in our first show when I was saying, if you hit it out the park, I am going to be like Harry Carey calling a Cubs game.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay?
Right.
Look, if you grounded the first when I needed you to hit it out the infield, I'm going to ask you, what were you swinging at? Okay?
Right.
That's just the way it is with me. I ain't going to run nobody in the ground. Everything that I want to do is constructive. Everybody's got their different thing, man. And let me tell you what, he is killing it because he's so raw and he's so honest.
Well, and what's wild is the platforms, right? And what platforms work for certain takes on things. Whereas like Devin has totally hit his stride on Twitter. Twitter is a great space for Devin.
Works for him.
Just like, what's funny is I tell Devin, I'm like, bro, you got to post on TikTok more. And what does he tell me? No, bro, you got to post on Twitter more. That's kind of our kind of friendly tip every now and then. Yeah. We always, and what's funny is people will tag us like, man, you need to collab with so-and-so. And it's like, the amount of phone calls that we have, and especially while Devin and, me honestly getting started, because he was on TikTok before I was. The amount of conversation as to, visions or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? The shirts, this kind of thing. And, I'm one of Devin's biggest fans, biggest supporters, always have been, always will be. But, what's different about what Devin's doing and what I'm doing, I can't wear, and I'm not going to wear a shirt that says, look at this MF. Right, exactly. That's just not my crowd. Meanwhile, Devin's got, he's got it going.
But let me just tell you one thing y'all do have in common.
Yeah.
Okay, is y'all putting y'all spoons in them plates.
That's it, baby.
All right, now let's talk about that. All right, because a big part of this show is, about the actual that taste, those flavors, that thing that's so unique here, and of course, the people that bring it to you is a thing, and that's one thing I do love about Devin. He talks about when people gets into it. So you've been, I went through your deal last night, and I'm going, man, he's hit so many places that I've hit.
Yeah.
Let's break them up into some subcategories. Okay. Now look, we all agree. Everybody's got good food in South Louisiana. Just some is better than others, all right? Some people have good days. Some people have bad days. Rhea and Randy were talking about the difference in markets: New Orleans, Thibodeau, Houma, Baton Rouge, Lafayette. One of my things was Lafayette. In my opinion, Lafayette proper, not the surrounding Acadiana area, doesn't have enough really good restaurants for the population size, the socioeconomic situation they got there. They should have nicer restaurants. I mean, and I ain't talking about 5-star. I'm just talking about more. More. I mean, you had your Marcellos, you got your Cafe Vermilionville for a long time, you had Blue Dog,
dude,
all them things.
Not trying to cut you off, but one of the biggest things that people ask me about is what the food is better, Lafayette or New Orleans, because they know that's where I spent the significant portions of my life. And I say, look, from a everyday dining perspective, in my opinion, I think affordability, obviously now things have gotten so expensive in New Orleans with so many people moving to New Orleans from across the country. one of the biggest things that I say is like, look, day to day, affordability, stuff like that, I'd take Lafayette. Now, it's not a knock on the food in New Orleans. I'm just saying, like, the life I'm living right now, in my opinion, New Orleans, Lafayette, from the lunch side, I think has it down. One of the things we do miss completely, and I tell people all the time, is a place to put on a sport coat.
That's right.
Is a date night spot. We've got a couple of them, but that's it. If we had a quarter of those spots compared to the 300-400 plus plate lunch spots we have, we'd be in good shape, but we just don't.
When Ruth's Chris is in your top 5 of best places to go, and look, Ruth's Chris is amazing.
Yeah,
we are in the Ruth Fertel room at the Nichols State Culinary Institute. We love us some Ruth's Chris here. Most consistent steak in the world. I'm gonna leave it right there. Anyway, but when they in your top 5 of nice places to eat in a market that size,
agree.
You got some work to do. So, but aside from that, we were talking about Baton Rouge, and he was hitting on Baton Rouge. I said, look, when I got elected to the Senate in 2009 to where we are now, Baton Rouge has done a quantum leap in one of their offers. One of their places is Rouge Creole. They got the best down the bayou gumbo out off the bayou. Okay?
Right.
And sure enough, if the chef don't hit me up on Facebook and it's like, you know why? Because I'm from Houma and I graduated from Nichols Culinary Institute. I was like, there you go, baby.
It all makes sense.
There you go. But let's talk about some of those sub segments, okay? And we're gonna look. I love me some fried chicken.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I love me some fried chicken.
I'm with you.
So you hit up the Blue Store.
Yep.
Tell me about some other places you hit that you didn't know nothing about, that maybe you wandered upon, you got recommended, that were just lights out.
So what's been happening, right? I know I made the joke when I came in here this afternoon. I was hot and dehydrated after shooting my "Hey, I'm in Thibodeau, baby, let's go" video, right? Which, of course, I always love the feedback I get on those videos, because what happens is I can kind of plan my first trips to certain cities from the comments I get regularly, because I try to respond, especially on TikTok, to the comments that I do get to keep the engagement up. I can kind of build those lists. But what's been easy is that when you post that video of like, "Hey, I'm in Thibodeau," even though I'm already back in Lafayette, my list starts building itself for down the road. That's absolutely. Right. So some of the spots that have really taken me by surprise, I'm gonna be honest with you, we went out to Westlake last week. So one of the first weeks in August, went to a place called Jewel's Cafe.
Now Westlake where?
Westlake, Louisiana.
Yeah, but what parish?
So right outside of Lake Charles.
There
I guess,
go.
Is that Calcasieu?
Ish.
Yeah.
Lake Charles area.
Yeah, Lake Charles area. So, dude, we were in Westlake, Louisiana, and right outside of Lake Charles. And the cowboy burger I had, the rice and gravy, I had like a smothered pork rice and gravy. It was unbelievable. The quesadillas with the fried ribs was crazy. One of my friends, another Nichols State Colonel, and I don't know if you follow him on TikTok. He finally got on, Marlon Williams. Okay. I've been talking to Marlon for months about getting on. He owns Chicken's Kitchen on the West Bank. And he's got a really nice social media following. His TikTok's been doing really well. His plates out in Algiers are unbelievable. I guess Algiers, Marrero, West Bank. I'm not the most familiar West Bank person.
Start with the West, we go wind up in Mississippi.
That's all I remember from the West Bank, honestly, growing up, we played at the Hilario Center when I was playing AAU basketball with New Orleans Panthers Select. And by the way, on that team, Greg Monroe, Brandon Moore, Charles Carter. I was the only one to not play D1 basketball. I was on the way end of the bench picking up charges and being that energy guy off the end. So we were eating McDonald's and Powerade. So that's all I know about the West Bank, or all I knew about the West Bank. But Chicken's Kitchen, and we've really been touching on Highway 90 and I-10 right now. Baton Rouge, Raoul's Deli, one of those videos I put up went crazy. The crawfish egg rolls were awesome. And for me, I think when I vibe with the owners, it just makes the meal that much better. So a lot of those places I'm naming are people that I have relationships with too, because when the vibe's right, the conversation's right, you're eating everything, it makes a big difference. Yeah, you know how it is. So those are some of the ones that come to mind, not in Acadiana, that I've ventured out to because of my social media pages.
So your fried chicken, Blue Store. Where's the best fried chicken?
Ooh, man, tough question.
I know.
And
look, no wrong answer,
yeah, for sure. So I love Blue Store chicken. I realized, I asked the ladies, I had some people getting on me, and some friends of mine text me like, "Man, what you doing dipping that Blue Store chicken in barbecue sauce?" I'm like, bro, bro, I asked. I said, do y'all want me to dip it or not? They said, yeah, hit it with the barbecue sauce. And I think Vicky's her name who works the front. Vicky's like, yeah, hit it with the barbecue. I'm like, all right, let's go. So love the Blue Store fried chicken for sure. Blue Store fried chicken, you know, on the bluff, right? And that's on the bluff, baby. Yeah, let's go. Let me chill out. Enjoyed it. But fried chicken wise, I think, man.
Did you get any chicken shack yet, Baton Rouge?
No, I haven't. But Mama Rita's in Lake Charles was really good. Really enjoyed Mama Rita's. I thought that was awesome. But you got to realize too, and Norby, I'm sure you deal with it. You know, when I go into these places, I'm getting their best, right? So it's really tough for me when like king cake season's the worst for me because people will be like, oh, where's the best king cake? And I'm like, do you realize every king cake I eat is hot and warm and covered with icing and sugar? Yeah, right. So it's like, you tell me a hot Randazzo's versus a hot Coludas versus a hot Twins in Lafayette, bro.
Yeah.
How do you? I can't pick that, but I can give you some. I can give you some ones that make a difference.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about that in my last segment about a great restaurant I hit on North Shore. Very similar. What was the wildest thing you wound up hitting on in all your visits?
Yeah, so far, right now we're trying to post, and I'm trying to post twice a day, right? And that's been since October. On the weekends, maybe on a Saturday, Sunday, I'll maybe just throw up one or whatever it may be. We played a show at Rock and Bowl with the Zydeco band back in July, and I was like, you know what? We had a great weekend. Let me take the weekend off, man. Just kind of breathe a little bit, hang out with my Nichols boys. We went out to Houston. But one of the strangest things is definitely is in the realm of what I do for work. So every year they have the St. Landry Parish Cattlemen's here's the beef cook-off. Yeah. And like, man, you're from the rooter to the tutor, baby, when it comes to cows. So I remember some of my first times having oxtails a couple of years ago because oxtails have gotten so much more popular everywhere.
Put them in my vegetable soups.
Yeah, right. So oxtails have gotten so much more popular. So it's so much more prevalent in our local restaurants everywhere I go, not just even in Lafayette anymore. But I would say, you know, some of the cow heart, some of the Rocky Mountain oyster style, kind of anything on that, anything at that here's the beef cook-off has been crazy. They do that, I believe, every spring is when they do that.
In that part of the world.
Yeah.
Speaking of
cowboy stews.
Of playing that Zydeco.
Yeah.
I found myself at La Fête de Boucani in Evangeline Parish, which is a smoked meats festival.
That's it.
Okay, in the middle of the summertime.
Ville Platte,
Who was the smoked meats in the middle of the summertime?
Yeah.
The Cajuns do.
Yeah.
And when Wayne was incarcerated, they had to bring Cocaine Wayne out with his shackles to play some music, and then he had to go away back to the pokey after that. How'd you get into playing Zydeco music and whatnot?
So
hit us with the band name.
Yeah. So Gerald, Gruenig, and Gentili Zydeco.
Gentili Zydeco. Man, that flows so well.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And that's what's funny is I have friends in Lafayette and haters too that'll be like, ain't no Zydeco and Gentili. Well, it's like, there is now, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it, bro. Open up the bar doors, we coming.
Did Grandma Gruenig teach you how to play the accordion?
Well, that's what's funny. You were talking about like Cajun and Creole. There's also a whole crowd of people in this state that don't identify with any of it.
Yeah,
right?
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in New Orleans and never was I like, I'm Cajun.
Yeah.
And even still now, people are like, oh, he's just a crazy kid. I'm like, no, I'm not, man.
If anything.
Yeah, like my mom's from Jefferson Parish. My dad grew up in the city, St. Bernard Housing Projects, honestly. And it was just one of those things where, you know, I guess because I'm a white boy living in Lafayette, now I'm Cajun. It's like, which is why, because I grew up in New Orleans, was on the rougher side. And, you know, man, I grew up listening to a lot of hip-hop, a lot of R&B, going by my buddies' houses around the corner. You know, Sundays, it was gospel. It was, you know. So when I moved to Lafayette and you know, some of the venues, it was either Cajun or Zydeco, where, you know, my now wife, who we've been together since high school, we met right after Katrina, where we have to make a decision between Cajun and Zydeco music. The decision was easy for me. As much as I love Cajun music, no, bro. I was man, that plugged in, the bass, the electric guitar, man, it was on with the Zydeco game. So I have a music segment that airs on KLFY every morning. It's called the Acadiana Music Spotlight. We feature local musicians. I'm hanging out with them just like I'm hanging out with you for hours at a time, but there's instruments lying around. I tried playing bass in college for a little bit. We'd get drunk and, you know, play Stand By Me and stuff like that over and over and over again. And whenever, you know, I'd be on a cruise Hey, can I tip the band enough? You gonna let me play Stand By Me? You know, like I always loved that side of being on stage. I mean, I think after playing football, I was longing for a crowd, that energy. You know, that's what people, you know, laugh at me doing those videos where I'm like running, talking to nobody. But like, bruh, there's times where if
once you get it in your veins,
if the right song hits while I'm walking into the gym, look out, man. Like, because I'm running through them doors, like, let's go. So, the Zydeco side, just that energy really matched me. And hanging out with our local musicians, Gino Delafalls, Horace Trahan, Keith Frank. I mean, you're talking about 3 heavy hitters right there that I can pick up the phone right now, even though I'm playing, booking gigs, doing this, that, and the other, where, you know, some people would call that competition. Those 3 are on a whole nother stratosphere. But I can make a call right now to those 3, especially Lee Allen Zeno. My band is Buckwheat Zydeco's band.
Wow.
So, like, I got Grammy winners. I got Grammy winners behind me, baby. You know, so
make you sound great.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Ain't no band getting more solos. You ain't gonna hear from a bass player more than you're gonna hear from my bass player. Right? Lee Allen Zeno's a legend. But what I'm saying is I think I'm always putting people in the spotlight, giving people a platform to share what they're doing, trying to lift people up all the time. So people have always given to me as well. Yeah. So I always felt like, man, I think I really want to learn how to play music. And I think this accordion, this spot on stage is really kind of calling me. And sure enough, I had picked it up in September of 2017. A year later, my band, Gerald, Gruenig, and Gentili Zydeco, we were playing.
What's the hardest thing about pushing that squeeze box?
For me, I think it's everybody. Everybody has an instrument. You've heard that before, right? If you either try it or you don't, you either go through the process. I want to play guitar. Oh, it's not for me. I want to play bass. I want to play fiddle. I want to play violin. I want to play cello. Yeah, but nobody will ever give that many a shot. They just go, I'm not musically inclined. It's like, well, there's a lot of instruments out there.
Right.
And I was lucky that I was at Leroy Thomas's house in Elton, right? So I'm in Jeff Davis Parish, right?
Talking my language.
The Road Runner, baby. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, baby. And I had just bought an accordion the weekend before I saw Leroy, a toy accordion, right? Just to kind of start fooling with it, because although it's not a professional grade accordion, it's still the same push-pull, you know, the keys, like, you know, it don't sound great, but you kind of figure out if you're gonna have a knack for it or not before you buy a $3,000 instrument. And bro, I learned to play Happy Birthday in an hour or two. And I remember Leroy being like, bro, like you got it, man.
Get Leroy Thomas to teach you Promised Land.
Yeah, that's it. Funky Trail Ride.
Let's do it, baby.
Man.
Let's do it.
I know it.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. You've got a lot of signature things. The Let's Go. We got it all. One of the things you got is your lids,
the brims, baby. Yeah,
and don't think we weren't gonna let you come back to the old hood and not give you a legit. Now this is with compliments. Yeah. Head baseball coach Mike Sill.
Yeah.
And he wish you could be here with us to give it to you himself.
Let's go, baby. 7 3/4 too. Look,
I mean, we got the special size.
When you ask me my size, I can't wait to drop my video, man. I feel like I'm signing, man. Let's go, baby. I'm gonna be a colonel. This is a lot more than hey, y'all can go to the bookstore and buy your own stuff when I was signing. But no, I appreciate it, man. I was very excited about this, and I got a whole video planned out in my head already. So
well, I'll tell you what, man.
But for the sake of fits, man, I'm gonna go back to yellow. Yeah. We got support from the crowd on that one, man. You know, I can't be looking like Christmas just yet, man. Just yet. But we're gonna drop that on social.
I wasn't kidding earlier when I said I think you got the best job in the plant, and
thank you, man.
Having this conversation with you and seeing where your heart's at in it, and bringing so much glory to the other people around you. You know, when we started this podcast. In this show, one of the things that we talked about was, look, this isn't a food show. No. It's about the industry. It's about the people that are into it. And, it's like you were saying, you vibe with the girl that's working the counter. Yeah. You vibe with the chef that's slaving over the hot stove in them little bitty ass convenience stores up and down Highway 90, and the back roads of Louisiana where...
Yep. Snowball stands in the back of people's houses. What? Yeah, bro.
Look, I just come upon somebody on TikTok that talks about New Orleans snowball stands. Love that guy. My babies. Let me tell you about this. Oh, it's phenomenal. There's so many avenues for people. But, anytime I tell them I'm doing a show like this, people always bring up Bourdain. Yeah. Bourdain comes down. He does his Cajun show. Yeah. And the lead singer from, and I think he plays the accordion, from
Lost Bayou Ramblers. Who was it?
Exactly.
Yep. Besides, Louis Michaud plays the fiddle for Lost Bayou Ramblers.
And
his brother Andre actually built my gray accordion that I
well,
play.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Brings them into St. Martin Parish.
Yep.
They go into a little shop.
Yep.
And Bourdain starts breaking down about how everything they do in the kitchen is wrong, according to what you are traditionally taught.
They went to Miss Glenda's Creole cuisine. Yeah,
and man, he starts talking about how dark the roux are.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is, and he's just like, this is the best thing, you know?
Right.
And then later on.
Because it's so wrong.
Yeah, he's like, but it's so right. It's like you're doing you're cooking the onions down until they're black.
Yeah.
Every French chef that's classically trained, their head would explode.
Yeah.
But they all appreciate what Cajun and Creole cuisine is.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, he goes and they do a crab ball.
Yeah.
And then later on that evening, and I tell this story all the time. They go in preparation for the next day's boucherie.
Yep.
Okay,
correct.
for those of y'all that don't know, a boucherie is a hog slaughter where they butcher the hog and they cook every part of it. They save some for the winter.
Which is done pretty regularly out in Southwest Louisiana.
That's where they're doing this episode. It's in Southwest Louisiana. And the night before, they made a crawfish bisque. And they sitting in the backyard. They got a fiddle guy. They got a guy playing accordion. They got some string lights up like it was in Awita's backyard. Okay, and they making this crawfish bisque. And here's Anthony Bourdain, who's been all over the world, best restaurants in the world. Literally has been to at the time the best restaurant in the world, which was a Spanish restaurant called El Bulli. Okay, in Spain. And he's eating off of a paper plate with some rice, some yellow potato salad, and some crawfish bisque. And he's like, this is the single best bite of food I've had since El Bulli.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, and we live with this. Now, don't get me wrong.
We're spoiled.
A crawfish bisque, in my opinion, is the greatest display of culinary love and appreciation you can do for people because it takes so long to make.
Correct.
And then he follows it up. The next episode, they get hammered. They wake up the next morning, they sweat, and it's in the middle of the summertime. They shoot the pig, they butcher the hog, and he's watching this one guy stirring this black iron pot all day long, and they're making a pork back stew.
Pork back stew. Pork bone stew. Or
And
backbone stew.
if you watch Bourdain, you know he absolutely loves pork. And he's just watching. Now he's pork all around him. Gratons. He's watching the ponce being made. He's watching the boudin being made. But he's got his eye on this pork stew. And when it comes out, and this guy's, I mean, they drinking Jameson, sweating like,
no doubt.
I mean, unbelievable. He tastes that pork backbone stew, and he's like, for the second time in 2 days, I can say this is the single best bite of food that I've had since El Bulli. El Bulli is the best restaurant on the planet.
Right.
And this is a world that we live, and this is a world that you get to experience one bite at a time, or maybe a couple of bites, depending on if you did a workout or what. But man, you're blessed and lucky.
Thank you, man. And you know what's funny? You touched on it earlier. I've always said, like, man, I have one of the best jobs in the world, but I think, you know what gig I would like? To be lieutenant governor. So that's what I sit down. I'm like, man, look, bro.
We both agree. I mean, you gonna pay me to run around and promote the state of Louisiana and go all over the world and do it? Well, look, if anybody might have a shot at it.
No, I don't know about that. We're a ways from that.
Don't make me. Hey, I'll run your campaign.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I do want to say this because I have a feeling we're wrapping up, Norby. You know, being able to spend time with you, honestly, for the first time, what you've done. Rooting for this university in the roles you've been in the past and what you are still doing for this university always meant a lot to me when I was playing. So when you sent me the text, hey man, we'd love to have you on, it was a no-brainer to make the trip down to Thibodaux. And I think any other Nicholls State student or athlete or anybody that you would reach out to would be crazy to not come, but I think you wouldn't have a problem, man, because we all know how much you rooted for this place, and I know you have to love seeing the growth and the steps it's been making as time moves on. Look, Thibodaux's on the come up, baby.
Let me tell you what, my father grew up a poor kid, as poor as you can get.
Yeah.
All right. Lost his mama when he was 11 years old. His father was an Irishman. They separated the family after she died when he was 11. He had nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Quit school, fought in the Korean War, came back. His middle school teacher, Vernon Galliana, who eventually became Dr. Galliana, who eventually became president of this university, encouraged, said, Leonard, you're too smart not to go to school when you got this GI Bill. Why don't you go to Nicholls? He had met my mama. They were living in Locaia. She was a dirt poor trapper's daughter. Without the GI Bill, he can't come to Nichols, and without Nichols, we're not having this conversation. And we've never forgotten that, right? Nichols has given the opportunity of so many people to come up, just like McNeese has, just like Southeastern has. It's a beautiful thing that you have in the state of Louisiana. It was a goal that, hey, look, we're going to offer educational opportunity to a lot of people. Louisiana would be an amazing state if everybody would stay. Unfortunately, we don't have, we get a lot of folks that leave after.
Right.
And I tell all the young folks that graduate, stay, make a difference in your community, do something. You look on the national scene, how many folks come out of Louisiana with all the talent in the world that are running ESPN right now.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean,
no
in the top 10 people on ESPN right now, half of them are from Louisiana, be it Booger or Stan Verrett or Ryan Clark. You go on and on and on. And if we had more people just staying here doing the things, Louisiana would be a great state. But that's enough of that introductory Lieutenant Governor campaign
for
Big G. We appreciate the word you said for Nichols.
Yeah,
and baby, you're doing an amazing thing for the culture of our state. You're helping out all them mom and pops, and you're eating damn good along the way.
Baby. That's the goal.
So keep up the good work.
We will.
The
Appreciate
Big G,
you, man.
y'all.
Yeah,
We're gonna come right back and we talk about one of my newest favorite restaurants in the state of Louisiana. That's Papillon on the North Shore. All right, I want to tell you about this little restaurant I stumbled across on the North Shore. In Old Mandeville, it's a great little place called Papillon's. Now, Papillon's run by a fella by the name of Papillon, oddly enough, that I learned when I was having dinner that night. Got to meet him, got to meet his lovely wife. It's an Italian restaurant by fare. And for those of you who may not know, but the Papillon is a butterfly. Now listen, the Italian food was great, okay? Was it out of the park? Was it the best? I don't know about that. They're trying hard. The red sauce was impeccable. They had a couple of shrimp dishes that were really good. But let me tell you about what they excelled at, all right? At the end of the meal, when we were trying to decide what we were gonna have dessert-wise, I had an opportunity to ask Papillon, what would be the best thing that he would like. And then his wife, who was the bartender, who made a lovely walnut old fashioned for me early on in the meal. It was spectacular. Try it out. It's on their signature drink list. She had one opinion. And then our server for the evening, who was just as pleasant as she could be, she had an opinion of something. It was a tiramisu that they imported from Italy that they made sure to tell me. And another person asked, they said it was the cannoli. Yeah, but the cannoli wasn't made in-house. And then I saw another waitress that was kind of wrapping up, and she had some time to chat with us. And let me just tell you, their staff, amazing. Can't say enough about them. All they did was hang out and talk to us all night as we sat at the bar. And look, we were having a good time, having a lot of cocktails, and we were being a bit boisterous. I know that's probably hard for you to imagine. But more and more folks came and talked to us throughout the course of the night. And I asked her, I said, what do you think is the best thing? She goes, well, what did they tell you so far? This, that, and the other. She says, let me tell you what, the Italian cream cake. She says, that's the best thing on the menu. Well, Papillon, after hearing all these different options, says, I'll do one for you. Goes in the back, comes out with a whole plate. He has every dessert in the kitchen and gelato. Okay, now they have their own gelato machine there. They make it. We had the pistachio gelato. Okay, they had a chocolate cake that was amazing. Needed a little something. Don't know what it is. They had the tiramisu, which again they bragged about important from Italy, and it was very, very good. And there was the cannoli. There was another cake. It was a gluttonous fare, and you can see the picture right here. We're putting it up. But let me just tell you about that Italian cream cake. Okay, now you can see that they on all the desserts they had that little Papillon butterfly out of chocolate, and it was phenomenal. And one of the things that we had a discussion about, and the chef even came out from the kitchen because he saw us really getting into the talk about the food, and he was so proud of what they were making in-house. And I was telling Papillon, I was like, so wait, y'all have this talent, y'all making these wonderful desserts all in-house. I said, but the first two people, the first thing they talked about was the tiramisu, and they made sure to mention that it was imported from Italy. And look, it was great. It wasn't nothing to write home about, and I'm sure it was a very expensive deal. But in the industry, you're always trying to make your margin, and anything you're going to make in-house, you're going to have a better margin on than something that you bring in from somewhere else. So my words of encouragement to Papillon then, as they are now, and to everybody out there, is if you're doing something great in-house, really push that. Sure, your red gravy's excellent, and your shrimp are of a great size, and you got that tiramisu from Italy. But man, if your chef in the back is making Italian cream cake from scratch, that the next day I'm calling my niece, the chef who makes phenomenal cakes, and say, let me tell you about this place you got to go on the North Shore, and you got to try this Italian cream cake. Push the cream cake, all right? So there you have it. The Italian cream cake at Papillon was so close to being the single best bite of food that I've had since our last episode, but I will never, ever, ever not say that Italian sandwich I made on vacation was not the best Italian sandwich I've ever made in my life. So there you have it. Look, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate Big G coming out. Give us a like. Follow us. It means a lot to us. It helps building up the following on our socials. You can now find the Back of the House podcast and Back of the House show wherever you listen to your podcast, or wherever you get all your streaming stuff. We're going to be excited about episode 3. We got a long list of guests lined up, and we appreciate the support, and we hope to see you next time, and we hope you enjoyed the show today. Au revoir.